Terrarian in the Dungeon, Chapter 79, Fan Fiction, by Azazyel. Please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel for listening and patreon.com/Azazyel to read all of his stories. After dealing with the usual vertigo from teleporting, I just face-planted into my bed and screamed, with said scream being swallowed and kept from spreading due to the thick pillow with an Undine cloth pillowcase to keep it cool. Was spending like 100,000 Valis on a bedspread extravagant? Yes, most certainly. But when you go to sleep with someone else and don't want to wake up in a pool of sweat, having a water spirit cloth solves all such issues. Ugh, hi. I groaned, rolling over onto my back and staring up into the ceiling windows that led into the false night sky above. Why couldn't Freya just be an insane bitch that will make it easy to hate her? I moaned as I petulantly kicked my feet up and down on my bed in frustration. I just wanted to get some materials and take advantage of her, but now I feel sympathy, and worse, my dumbass decided to get her involved with the best girl Heroheim. Granted, I wasn't obsessed with getting Heroheim in my familia due to my own strength growing so fast, and apparently, I was needing to fight bosses on my own lest I face issues from the sentient bosses themselves. But still, Heroheim was the best girl in Danmachi, and I feel like I should have taken care of her issues myself if I was going to drag her into my familia and thus my mess. Fuck it. What's done is done. I just need to make the best of it. I grimaced as I rolled to my feet and took a deep breath, and then I grinned as I realized that I was actually going to be the one to bring someone into the familia on purpose. And if Seshet gives me shit for dragging in my own waifu stray off the streets, well then she could suck it up. With the lovely petty thought in my head, I literally skipped, all but gliding out of my room and also somewhat of Belle's room when she didn't want to read at night on her own. How did the meeting with that Freya go? Hestia asked me as I came into the lobby of our shop, and I shrugged as it could have gone better and a lot worse, but either way I was torn on what to think of Freya right now. Only got molested by her a little bit before I could teleport and flee. But either way, I am alright, though unfortunately, with Evelis's actions, they cannot go into the dungeon to get the materials I need. So, I will need to go to the BO mountains to get the materials, and might as well also pick up a bunch of extra ores and stuff that will be more difficult to get in the dungeon. I announced as I picked up some potions that we had to put in my inventory. Huh, figures, she flaked, Seshet remarked lazily as she lounged in her large throne couch thing that overlooked the shop. So, you going to begin heading over there, or do you have some kind of plan to get out of Orario without Evelis following your every move? I nodded, grinning as I held up a Deathbringer pickaxe that I made from the Eater of Worlds drops. Yup, I am going to just dig under the walls of Orario and go a couple of miles before I hit the forests that surround the mountain range. Anyway, Beatrice, I've got a few hours before I need to do some stuff. Would you like to go on a date or something? I asked nicely, and the cow beastkin smiled demurely as she nodded gratefully at me paying her attention. I would like that. In fact, I can quickly make some really nice sandwiches with some homemade cheese I made, and seeing as you have things to do later, let's just do a little picnic in that gazebo. Beatrice said gently, and for a moment my mouth twitched at the mention of homemade cheese. Beatrice was a cow beastkin and, funny enough, here in anime land, that translated to cow beastkin lactating at all times due to evolution over millennia made the cow beastkin women into the preeminent child caregivers with their voluptuous frames and very demure and soft personalities. Those very qualities in this monster-infested world made it so settlements even with many races within them would focus on cow beastkin women due to them being universal child caregivers, and thus even with monsters everywhere they survive more often than not due to other races loving those features and giving their lives for the milkmaids to survive a monster attack. So, when she said, homemade cheese, I was a little leery of it actually being made with her breast milk. Though that would require that she somehow managed to hide her breast milk from Seshet, who was seemingly able to sniff it out wherever she stored it, as the cat goddess would drink it all without shame. A couple of minutes later, I was relaxing with Beatrice in the gazebo I had previously made, and for good or ill, the cheese used in the grilled cheese was not actually her breast milk. So, how has your fauna progress been going? I asked, and she smiled as she wiped her hands of any grease that came from the sandwiches on a wet towel. Oh, I have gotten like 30 points in all my stats except for magic over the last few weeks. I got up to 50 points with magic due to always using one of your magic weapons to light the wood used in the smoker and wood-fired cook stove. Beatrice said, giggling as she covered her face at my wry face at her terrible growth. I typically got 150 stat points spread out across my fauna in a single day within the dungeon, let alone if I was fighting a bunch of boss monsters from my summon items. But she was basically making under like 10 stat points a day, and that was actually insanely good due to the fact that she wasn't fighting at all. You will get there someday, Beatrice, I said, patting her on her head between her cow horns, making her giggle softly. I believe you will get some kind of skill or development ability based on cooking, and when you do, I want to be the first one to try your awesome magical cooking, I said softly before dipping in to kiss her on her forehead. I may not be the most attentive to you, due to your interests being more homely and my own being just running around getting into trouble. I paused as I sighed and pulled Beatrice into my arms. But I do care about you, so just make sure to remind me to get my head out of the dungeon game, I said. Beatrice nodded more seriously, and then she wrapped her arms around my head and pulled my head into her chest so my face was fully smushed into her exposed cleavage and I could barely hear her heartbeat with how large her breasts were. Alright, Jake. Just don't take back those words if I get needy, Beatrice said gently as she snuggled into me, so my face was pressed into her chest while she leaned against my shoulders, and that's how we spent the next hour, just enjoying soft words with each other until the sun went down and I sent her back inside as I knew Freya was going to start the event soon. Half an hour later, after the sun went down, I watched the red light district central tower, being Ishtar's domain, be smote with a series of lightning bolts, and I dove into the red light district knowing that Freya was making her mark, probably using my information about how Ishtar was a member of Valis to make an example out of her. But I needed to try to find Heraheim before Freya did, as you never know if those Freya simps would accidentally kill her or something.